Imagine pain as raw ore, heavy, unrefined, and buried deep within the earth of your life. It's dark, dense, and difficult to carry, but within it lies the potential for something precious. What if the very thing that wounded you could become your greatest source of strength? What if, instead of being the end of your story, your pain was the beginning of a powerful transformation? Everyone has pain. It might come from loss, betrayal, disappointment, or dreams that never came true. Sometimes it arrives suddenly, like a storm that tears through everything you thought was secure. Other times, it creeps in quietly, a slow erosion of hope or trust. However it comes, pain is universal. It is the one thing every human being shares, even if the details are different. But most of us see pain as something to avoid, to hide, or to simply survive. We grit our teeth and wait for it to pass, hoping that time alone will heal the wounds. We carry our pain like a burden, dragging it behind us, letting it shape our days and color our nights. We rarely stop to ask, could this pain be more than just suffering? Could it be the raw material for something greater? Think of the ancient alchemists who believed that base metals could be transformed into gold. The process was long, mysterious, and often misunderstood. It required fire, patience, and a willingness to face the unknown. In the same way, the alchemy of pain is not about denying what hurts, but about seeing it as the starting point for growth. It's about asking, what can I create from this? How can I use this experience to become stronger, wiser, more compassionate? Pain in its raw form is heavy and unyielding. It can make you feel small, powerless, or broken. But within every hurt is a hidden potential, a spark of resilience, a seed of wisdom, a chance to discover parts of yourself you never knew existed. The journey from pain to power begins with a shift in perspective, seeing your suffering not as a dead end, but as the first step on a new path. Everyone's pain is different, but the invitation is the same. Instead of asking, why did this happen to me? Try asking, what can I do with this? Instead of seeing yourself as a victim of circumstance, imagine yourself as an alchemist, turning the lead of your wounds into the gold of your future. This is not about minimizing your pain or pretending it doesn't matter. It's about honoring your experience and believing that it can serve a purpose beyond suffering. There is a hidden strength in every scar. The places where you have been hurt are also the places where you have learned to heal. The moments that broke you open are the same moments that taught you about courage, empathy, and hope. Pain can be a teacher if you let it. It can show you what matters, who you are, and what you are capable of surviving. But transformation doesn't happen by accident. It requires intention, reflection, and a willingness to face your pain honestly. It means sitting with your hurt, listening to what it has to say, and asking what it needs to become something new. It means trusting that even in your darkest moments, there is a light waiting to be found. You might not know how to begin. That's okay. The first step is simply to acknowledge your pain, to see it, name it, and accept that it is part of your story. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to know what the gold will look like. You just have to be willing to start the process, to believe that transformation is possible. As you reflect on your own pain, notice the ways it has shaped you. What have you learned from your struggles? What strengths have you discovered in the midst of suffering? What moments of kindness, courage, or clarity have come from your darkest days? These are the first glimmers of gold, the signs that your pain is not just a burden, but a source of power. Everyone has pain, but not everyone knows it can be turned into power. This is the journey you are invited to take, not to erase your wounds, but to transform them. Not to forget what hurt you, but to use it as fuel for growth. Not to be defined by your suffering, but to become the author of your own healing. The alchemy of pain is not easy. It asks you to be brave, to be honest, and to trust in the possibility of change. But it also offers a promise that within every hurt is the potential for something beautiful. That your pain, no matter how heavy, can become the gold that lights your way forward. So, as you begin this journey, hold your pain gently. See it not as the end, but as the beginning. Trust that you have the strength to transform it, and that in doing so, you will discover a power within yourself that you never imagined possible. Pain rarely arrives without a story. It has roots that run deep, often hidden beneath the surface of our daily lives. Sometimes we only see the symptoms, sadness, anger, anxiety, or numbness, without understanding where they truly began. But every ache has an origin, every wound a history. To transform pain into power, we must first understand where it comes from and how it has shaped us. Imagine your pain as a tree. Above ground, you see the branches, your reactions, your habits, your struggles. But beneath the soil, tangled roots stretch far and wide. Some roots are easy to trace: the loss of someone you loved, a betrayal that shattered your trust, a dream that slipped through your fingers. Others are more subtle, growing from unmet expectations, words left unspoken, or the slow erosion of hope over time. Sometimes pain is born from the storms that sweep through our lives: a sudden loss, a harsh ending, a moment when everything changed. These storms can uproot us, leaving us exposed and vulnerable. Other times, pain grows quietly, like a drought that slowly withers the spirit. It might be the daily grind of disappointment, the weight of responsibilities, or the ache of feeling unseen and unheard. We all carry pain in different ways. Some of us wear it openly, letting our wounds show in the way we speak, move, or relate to others. We might become guarded, quick to anger, or easily discouraged. Others hide their pain, tucking it away behind smiles, achievements, or busyness. We tell ourselves we're fine, that we've moved on, even as the roots of suffering continue to shape our choices and self-image. It's easy to judge ourselves for feeling pain, especially when others seem to have it worse or when we think we should be over it by now. But pain is not a competition, and it is not a weakness. It is a natural response to loss, disappointment, or unmet needs. The more compassion we bring to our own suffering, the more space we create for healing and transformation. Take a moment to reflect on the roots of your own pain. Where did it begin? Was it a single event or a series of small hurts that added up over time? What expectations were left unmet? What trust was broken? What dreams were lost along the way? Sometimes, just naming the source of your pain is enough to loosen its grip. Notice how you carry your pain. Do you talk about it or keep it hidden? Do you try to numb it with distractions, or do you let it guide your decisions? Does it show up as self-doubt, perfectionism, or a fear of getting close to others? The ways we carry pain are as unique as the pain itself, but they all have one thing in common. They shape the way we see ourselves and the world. Pain can become a lens, coloring every experience. If you've been betrayed, you might struggle to trust. If you've lost something precious, you might fear losing again. If you've been disappointed, you might lower your expectations, hoping to avoid future hurt. These patterns are not flaws. They are survival strategies, ways your mind and heart have tried to protect you. But survival is not the same as living. When pain goes unexamined, it can keep us stuck, repeating the same patterns, making the same choices, and wondering why nothing changes. Understanding the roots of your suffering is not about blaming yourself or others. It's about seeing clearly, with compassion and honesty, so you can begin to choose a different path. Sometimes, the roots of pain are tangled with shame or guilt. Maybe you blame yourself for what happened, or you carry the weight of someone else's mistakes. Maybe you feel responsible for things you couldn't control, or you believe you deserved the hurt you received. These beliefs are powerful, but they are not the truth of who you are. They are stories you learned, not facts you must live by. As you explore the origins of your pain, be gentle with yourself. Healing begins with understanding, not judgment. The roots of suffering may run deep, but they do not have to define you. You have the power to tend to those roots, to untangle them, and to choose what you want to grow in their place. Ask yourself, what am I still carrying that no longer serves me? What old wounds am I ready to acknowledge, even if I can't yet let them go? What would it feel like to see my pain not as a curse, but as a teacher, one that has shaped me, but does not have to limit me? The journey of transformation begins with clarity. When you understand the roots of your suffering, you can begin to loosen their hold. You can start to see your pain not as a permanent part of your identity, but as a chapter in your story, one that you have the power to rewrite. You are not alone in your pain. Every person you meet is carrying their own invisible burdens, shaped by storms and droughts, by losses and disappointments. But you are also not alone in your capacity to heal, to grow, and to transform. The roots of suffering may be deep, but so is your potential for change. As you move forward, hold your pain with compassion. See it for what it is, a part of your journey, not the whole of who you are. Trust that by understanding where your pain comes from, you are already taking the first steps toward turning it into personal power. We are all storytellers, even if we don't realize it. Every day, we narrate our lives to ourselves and to others, weaving meaning from our experiences, especially our pain. The stories we tell about our suffering can become the lens through which we see the world and ourselves. Sometimes, these stories are quiet, whispered in the privacy of our minds. Other times, they are loud, shaping our choices, our relationships, and our sense of what's possible. Think about the stories you've built around your pain. Maybe you wear your wounds as armor, believing that if you stay guarded, you can't be hurt again. Maybe you've painted your life with the colors of old wounds, letting past betrayals or disappointments define your present. Sometimes we tell ourselves we are victims, powerless to change what's happened. Other times, we blame ourselves, carrying shame or guilt that was never truly ours to bear. These stories are not just words, they are patterns. They shape the way we move through the world. If you believe you are broken, you might avoid new opportunities, fearing more pain. If you see yourself as unlucky, you might expect disappointment and miss out on joy. If you tell yourself you're not enough, you might settle for less than you deserve, repeating the same cycles again and again. It's easy to get stuck in these narratives. They are familiar, and in a strange way, they can feel safe. The story of victimhood, for example, can protect us from the risk of trying again. The story of blame can give us a sense of control, even if it's painful. The story of shame can keep us small, convincing us that we don't deserve more. But these stories, while comforting in their predictability, can also become prisons. Imagine wearing a heavy coat made of old stories. At first, it keeps you warm, shielding you from the world, but over time it becomes heavy, itchy, and restrictive. You start to wonder what it would feel like to take it off, to move freely, to let your skin breathe. The truth is, you are not your pain, and you are not the stories you've told about it. You are the storyteller, and you have the power to choose a new narrative. Rewriting your story doesn't mean denying what happened or pretending you were never hurt. It means choosing to see yourself not as a victim, but as a survivor and a creator. It means asking, what have I learned from my pain? How has it made me stronger, wiser, or more compassionate? It means recognizing that your wounds are not just scars, they are also sources of wisdom and empathy. Start by noticing the stories you tell yourself, especially in moments of struggle. Are you repeating old patterns of blame, shame, or hopelessness? Are you painting your present with the colors of your past? Are you letting your pain define your identity? Or are you allowing yourself to grow beyond it? You have the power to question these stories. Ask yourself, is this narrative helping me heal, or is it keeping me stuck? Is it true, or is it just familiar? What would a kinder, more empowering story sound like? What if you saw yourself as resilient, as someone who has overcome, as someone who is still becoming? Sometimes the first step is simply to name the story. Write it down, speak it out loud, or share it with someone you trust. Notice how it feels to bring it into the light. Then, imagine what it would be like to let it go, to try on a new story, to see yourself through the eyes of compassion and possibility. You are not alone in this process. Everyone has stories they've outgrown, patterns they're ready to break, and wounds they're ready to heal. The journey from pain to power is not about erasing the past, but about choosing what meaning you give to it. It's about becoming the author of your own life, rather than letting old chapters dictate your future. As you begin to rewrite your story, you may notice resistance. The old narratives are comfortable, and change can feel risky. But remember, you are not starting from scratch. You are building on the strength, wisdom, and courage you've gained from every challenge you've faced. You are not erasing your pain, you are transforming it. Let yourself imagine a new story, one where you are the hero, the survivor, the creator, one where your pain is not a weight, but a source of power, one where you are free to choose, to grow, and to love yourself as you are. The stories we tell about our pain matter. They shape our lives in ways we can't always see. But you have the power to change the narrative, to paint your life with new colors, to wear your experience not as armor, but as a badge of honor. You are more than your wounds. You are the storyteller, and your next chapter is waiting to be written. There comes a moment in every journey when you stand at a crossroads. You can feel the weight of your pain behind you, the old stories whispering in your ear, the familiar ache urging you to turn back. But ahead there is something different, a path you've never taken, a possibility you've never dared to believe in. This is the turning point, the moment when you choose whether to remain defined by your pain or to use it as fuel for transformation. It's not an easy choice. The road of suffering is well worn, its ruts deep and familiar. You know every twist and turn, every shadow and stone. The path of transformation, by contrast, is uncertain. It asks you to step into the unknown, to trust that something better is possible, even if you can't see it yet. It asks you to gather the wood of old disappointments, the branches of broken dreams, and light a fire, not to destroy, but to create warmth, light, and new beginnings. Choosing transformation is an act of courage. It means facing your pain honestly, without flinching or turning away. It means feeling it fully, letting it move through you and deciding that it will not be wasted. Pain, when faced with open eyes and an open heart, becomes a powerful teacher. It shows you what matters, what you need, and what you are capable of surviving. There is a dignity in this choice. It is the moment you say, "I will not let my suffering be the end of my story." It is the moment you decide that your pain will not define you, but refine you. It is the moment you choose hope over despair, action over resignation, and growth over stagnation. Transformation does not mean forgetting what happened or pretending it didn't hurt. It means using your pain as a source of wisdom, empathy, and strength. It means letting your wounds become the place where the light gets in, where new life begins to grow. It means honoring your journey, every scar and every lesson, and believing that you are worthy of something more. At the crossroads, you may feel fear. You may wonder if you're strong enough, if you're ready, if you deserve a new beginning. These doubts are natural. They are the echoes of old stories, the remnants of old wounds. But you do not have to listen to them. You can choose to trust yourself, to believe in your own resilience, to take the first step, even if your voice shakes and your heart pounds. The turning point is not a single moment, but a series of choices. Every day, you decide whether to carry your pain or to use it as fuel. Every day, you choose whether to stay in the old story or to write a new one. Every day, you have the opportunity to transform suffering into strength, loss into wisdom, and disappointment into hope. Sometimes, transformation begins with a small act, a decision to speak your truth, to set a boundary, to ask for help. Sometimes it's a quiet moment of reflection, a breath taken in the midst of chaos, a promise made to yourself that you will not give up. Other times, it's a bold leap, a new job, a new relationship, a new dream. Whatever form it takes, the turning point is always an act of self-respect and hope. You may not know what the future holds. You may not have all the answers. But you have the power to choose, to act, to move forward. You have the power to turn your pain into personal power, to become the architect of your own life, to light a fire that warms you and guides you home. As you stand at your own crossroads, take a moment to honor how far you've come. Remember the storms you've weathered, the losses you've survived, the lessons you've learned. Let your pain be the wood that fuels your transformation, the spark that ignites your courage, the gold that shines in the darkness. Transformation is not a destination, but a journey. It is the daily practice of choosing hope, of believing in your own strength, of trusting that you are worthy of healing and happiness. It is the willingness to face your pain, to feel it fully, and to let it shape you, not as a victim, but as a survivor, a creator, a force of nature. You are not alone on this path. Every person who has ever turned pain into power has stood where you stand now. Every act of transformation, no matter how small, is a victory. Every step forward is a testament to your courage, your resilience, and your capacity for change. So, as you reach your own turning point, remember, you have a choice. You can remain defined by your pain, or you can use it as the foundation for something new. You can let your suffering be the end of your story, or you can let it be the beginning of your greatest strength. The fire is yours to light, the path is yours to walk, and the power is yours to claim. Transformation is not just a decision, it's a practice, a series of small daily acts that slowly turn pain into power. Like a blacksmith forging steel in the fire, you shape your strength through intention, reflection, and action. The process is not always dramatic. Often it's quiet and steady, unfolding in the choices you make each day. Begin with self-reflection. Set aside time to sit with your pain, not as an enemy, but as a teacher. Ask yourself, what is this pain trying to show me? What have I learned about myself through suffering? Sometimes the answers come slowly, but even the act of asking is a step toward transformation. Journaling can help. Writing down your thoughts, feelings, and memories allows you to see patterns, to notice growth, and to honor your journey. Gratitude is another powerful tool. It may seem impossible to feel grateful for pain, but gratitude is not about denying what hurts. It's about finding the small sparks of light in the darkness. Maybe your pain taught you compassion, or made you more resilient, or brought you closer to someone who truly understands. Each time you notice a gift hidden within your struggle, you reclaim a piece of your power. Creative expression can also be a path to transformation. Paint, write, dance, sing. Let your pain move through you and become something new. Art is alchemy. It turns suffering into beauty, confusion into clarity, and isolation into connection. You don't have to be an artist to benefit. The act of creating in any form is a way of saying, I am more than what hurt me. I can make something meaningful from my experience. Helping others is another way to turn pain into power. When you share your story, offer support, or simply listen to someone else's struggle, you transform your wounds into wisdom. You become a source of hope, a reminder that healing is possible. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to let your scars be seen, not as signs of weakness, but as proof of survival. Resilience grows in the fire of adversity. Each time you face your pain with honesty and courage, you strengthen your ability to weather future storms. This doesn't mean you won't feel hurt again, but it does mean you'll know how to find your footing, how to reach for support, and how to trust in your own capacity to heal. Daily rituals can help anchor your transformation. Start your morning with an affirmation. I am strong. I am healing. I am turning pain into power. End your day by acknowledging one thing you did well, no matter how small. Celebrate progress, not perfection. Remember, transformation is a journey, not a destination. Forgiveness is another practice that can set you free. This doesn't mean excusing what happened or forgetting the hurt. It means releasing the hold that pain has on your heart. Forgive yourself for the times you stayed too long, for the mistakes you made, for the ways you tried to cope. Forgive others, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Boundaries are essential too. As you grow stronger, you may notice that some people, places, or habits no longer fit the person you are becoming. It's okay to say no, to step back, to protect your energy. Boundaries are not walls. They are gates that let in what nourishes you and keep out what drains you. Remember to nurture your body as well as your mind and spirit. Pain can live in the muscles, the breath, the posture you hold. Gentle movement, deep breathing, and rest are all acts of self-care that support your transformation. Listen to your body's wisdom. It often knows what you need before your mind does. Transformation is not about erasing your pain, but about integrating it. It's about letting your wounds become part of your story, but not the whole story. It's about growing flowers from ashes, finding meaning in the mess, and trusting that every experience has something to teach you. You are not alone on this path. Every person who has ever turned pain into power has walked through fire, faced doubt, and chosen hope. The practices you adopt, reflection, gratitude, creativity, service, resilience, forgiveness, boundaries, and self-care, are the tools that will help you forge your own strength. As you move through each day, remember that transformation is a process. Some days will feel easy, others will be hard. There will be setbacks and breakthroughs, moments of doubt and flashes of clarity. Trust the journey. Trust yourself. The fire that once threatened to consume you is now the forge that shapes your power. Let your pain become wisdom. Let your struggle become empathy. Let your healing become a light for others. Every act of transformation, no matter how small, is a victory. Every day you choose to turn pain into power, you become more of who you are meant to be. Transformation is not just a decision, it's a practice, a series of small daily acts that slowly turn pain into power. Like a blacksmith forging steel in the fire, you shape your strength through intention, reflection, and action. The process is not always dramatic. Often, it's quiet and steady, unfolding in the choices you make each day. Begin with self-reflection. Set aside time to sit with your pain, not as an enemy, but as a teacher. Ask yourself, what is this pain trying to show me? What have I learned about myself through suffering? Sometimes the answers come slowly, but even the act of asking is a step toward transformation. Journaling can help. Writing down your thoughts, feelings, and memories allows you to see patterns, to notice growth, and to honor your journey. Gratitude is another powerful tool. It may seem impossible to feel grateful for pain, but gratitude is not about denying what hurts. It's about finding the small sparks of light in the darkness. Maybe your pain taught you compassion, or made you more resilient, or brought you closer to someone who truly understands. Each time you notice a gift hidden within your struggle, you reclaim a piece of your power. Creative expression can also be a path to transformation. Paint, write, dance, sing. Let your pain move through you and become something new. Art is alchemy. It turns suffering into beauty, confusion into clarity, and isolation into connection. You don't have to be an artist to benefit. The act of creating in any form is a way of saying, I am more than what hurt me. I can make something meaningful from my experience. Helping others is another way to turn pain into power. When you share your story, offer support, or simply listen to someone else's struggle, you transform your wounds into wisdom. You become a source of hope, a reminder that healing is possible. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to let your scars be seen, not as signs of weakness, but as proof of survival. Resilience grows in the fire of adversity. Each time you face your pain with honesty and courage, you strengthen your ability to weather future storms. This doesn't mean you won't feel hurt again, but it does mean you'll know how to find your footing, how to reach for support, and how to trust in your own capacity to heal. Daily rituals can help anchor your transformation. Start your morning with an affirmation, I am strong, I am healing, I am turning pain into power. End your day by acknowledging one thing you did well, no matter how small. Celebrate progress, not perfection. Remember, transformation is a journey, not a destination. Forgiveness is another practice that can set you free. This doesn't mean excusing what happened or forgetting the hurt. It means releasing the hold that pain has on your heart. Forgive yourself for the times you stayed too long, for the mistakes you made, for the ways you tried to cope. Forgive others, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Boundaries are essential too. As you grow stronger, you may notice that some people, places, or habits no longer fit the person you are becoming. It's okay to say no, to step back, to protect your energy. Boundaries are not walls, they are gates that let in what nourishes you and keep out what drains you. Remember to nurture your body as well as your mind and spirit. Pain can live in the muscles, the breath, the posture you hold. Gentle movement, deep breathing, and rest are all acts of self-care that support your transformation. Listen to your body's wisdom. It often knows what you need before your mind does. Transformation is not about erasing your pain, but about integrating it. It's about letting your wounds become part of your story, but not the whole story. It's about growing flowers from ashes, finding meaning in the mess, and trusting that every experience has something to teach you. You are not alone on this path. Every person who has ever turned pain into power has walked through fire, faced doubt, and chosen hope. The practices you adopt, reflection, gratitude, creativity, service, resilience, forgiveness, boundaries, and self-care, are the tools that will help you forge your own strength. As you move through each day, remember that transformation is a process. Some days will feel easy, others will be hard. There will be setbacks and breakthroughs, moments of doubt and flashes of clarity. Trust the journey. Trust yourself. The fire that once threatened to consume you is now the forge that shapes your power. Let your pain become wisdom. Let your struggle become empathy. Let your healing become a light for others. Every act of transformation, no matter how small, is a victory. Every day you choose to turn pain into power, you become more of who you are meant to be. Living with power after pain is not about being loud or forceful. It's about walking taller, moving through the world with a quiet confidence that comes from knowing what you've survived and who you've become. The storms you've weathered have shaped you, but they do not define you. Now you are the architect of your own life, building each day on a foundation of self-knowledge and hard-won wisdom. You may notice that your posture has changed, not just physically, but emotionally. Where you once shrank back, you now stand firm. Where you once doubted, you now trust your instincts. The boundaries you set are no longer walls of fear, but lines of respect, drawn with love for yourself and others. You know what you need, and you are no longer afraid to ask for it. This new strength is steady, not showy. It's the kind of power that doesn't need to prove itself. You don't have to shout to be heard or fight to be seen. Your presence speaks for itself. People may notice a difference in you, a calmness, a clarity, a sense of purpose that wasn't there before. This is the gift of transformation, the ability to move through life with authenticity, without fear of the past. You may find that your relationships change as well. Some people will be drawn to your new energy, inspired by your resilience and honesty. Others may feel uncomfortable, unsure how to relate to the person you've become. That's okay. Not everyone is meant to walk every part of your journey with you. The people who truly care for you will celebrate your growth, even if it means letting go of old dynamics. Living with power also means honoring your story. You don't have to hide your scars or pretend you were never hurt. Instead, you can share your journey with others, not as a tale of victimhood, but as a testament to your strength. Your story becomes a source of hope, a reminder that healing is possible and that pain can be transformed into something beautiful. There will still be challenges, of course. Life is never without its storms. But now, you face them with a new sense of resilience. You know that you have survived before, and you trust that you can survive again. You are no longer afraid of falling because you know how to rise. This quiet power is rooted in self-knowledge. You understand your triggers, your needs, your dreams. You are honest with yourself about what you want, and you are willing to do the work to make it happen. You no longer settle for less than you deserve, and you no longer let fear dictate your choices. You may notice that your goals have shifted. Instead of chasing approval or validation, you seek fulfillment and meaning. You are less concerned with what others think and more focused on what feels true to you. This is the freedom that comes from living authentically, from letting your inner compass guide you rather than the expectations of others. Living with power is also about giving back. When you have turned your pain into strength, you become a source of support for others. You know what it's like to struggle, and you offer empathy without judgment. You share your wisdom, not to impress, but to inspire. You become a lighthouse for those still lost in the storm, a reminder that it is possible to find your way home. This new chapter is not about perfection. There will be days when old doubts resurface, when you feel vulnerable or uncertain. That's part of being human. The difference now is that you know how to care for yourself, how to reach for support, and how to trust the process. You are gentle with yourself in moments of weakness, and you celebrate your progress, no matter how small. As you continue to grow, remember that true power is not about control or dominance. It is about presence, integrity, and self-respect. It is about living in alignment with your values, honoring your boundaries, and choosing love over fear. It is about being the architect of your own life, building each day with intention and courage. You are not defined by what happened to you, but by what you choose to do with it. You are not limited by your past, but empowered by your willingness to heal and grow. Every step you take is a testament to your strength, your resilience, and your capacity for transformation. Let yourself walk taller after the storm. Let yourself be proud of the person you have become. Let yourself live with power, not as a shield, but as a light that guides you and others forward. The world needs your strength, your wisdom, and your authenticity. You are the architect of your own life, and your story is far from over. There is a quiet magic in the way one person's transformation can light the path for others. When you turn your pain into power, you don't just change your own life, you become a living example of what's possible. Your journey, with all its struggles and triumphs, becomes a beacon of hope for those still searching for their own way out of the darkness. Imagine lighting a candle in a room full of shadows. At first, the glow is small, but it's enough to show others that light is possible. As you share your story, your wisdom, and your hard-won strength, you invite others to believe in their own capacity for change. You become a lighthouse on a rocky shore, guiding others safely through their storms, simply by standing tall and shining your truth. You may not realize the impact you have. Sometimes it's a quiet word of encouragement, a listening ear, or a simple act of kindness that makes all the difference. Other times, it's your willingness to be vulnerable, to share your scars and your healing that gives someone else the courage to begin their own journey. Every act of transformation, no matter how small, sends ripples outward, touching lives you may never even know. As you live boldly and love deeply, you inspire others to do the same. Your resilience becomes a mirror in which others can see their own strength. Your authenticity gives others permission to be real. Your hope becomes contagious, spreading from heart to heart, reminding everyone that healing is possible and that no one is alone. You don't have to have all the answers to be a source of light. You don't have to be perfect or finished or fearless. You just have to be willing to show up, to share what you've learned, and to offer your presence as a gift. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is simply to say, "I've been there, too, and I found my way through." Let your journey be a story you tell with pride, not because it was easy, but because you chose to keep going. Let your scars be a testament to your courage, your growth, and your willingness to transform. Let your life be a living invitation for others to step into their own power, to trust their own process, and to believe in their own worth. As you become a beacon of hope, remember to keep your own light burning bright. Continue to nurture your growth, to honor your boundaries, and to care for your heart. The world needs your strength, but it also needs your gentleness, your laughter, and your joy. Share your wisdom, but also share your dreams, your creativity, and your love. Support others on their journeys, not by carrying their burdens, but by walking beside them, offering encouragement and understanding. Celebrate their victories, comfort them in their struggles, and remind them that transformation is always possible. Every time you lift someone else up, you reinforce your own strength and deepen your own healing. The ripple effect of personal transformation is real. One act of courage can inspire another. One story of healing can spark 1,000 more. One life lived boldly can change the world, one heart at a time. You are part of something bigger than yourself, a community of souls who have chosen to turn pain into power, to live with hope, and to let their light shine. As you move forward, keep asking yourself, how can I use my journey to help others? How can I share my wisdom, my compassion, and my strength? How can I be a lighthouse in someone else's storm? The answers may be simple or profound, but every act of kindness, every word of encouragement, every moment of presence matters. Live boldly, love deeply, let your power shine. The world is waiting for your light, your story, and your unique contribution. You have turned your pain into personal power. Now let that power become a gift to others. This is your invitation to be a beacon of hope, to inspire healing, and to remind everyone you meet that transformation is possible. Your journey is not just your own. It is a light that can guide others home.